So, on the free to play, I have pulled a ton of champions, I have fused a bunch of champions, I have done an awful lot of work, and the real question now is, what the heck am I going to do from here? Hello, everyone. Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here on the free to pause account because we are going to talk about where I am going to be going next with this. Now, as of recording this video, I've got maybe less than 2 weeks left for the event. We are finishing on April 4th, at least as far as I've confirmed it's April 4th, so I have less than 2 weeks. That means there is a chance that some of these faction wars may not open again, so I have my last chance to get some stars in faction wars, and that means that I kind of need to push my account into high gear to get it to where I really want it to be. So let's take a look at where I'm at now. Certainly some of the champions I have pulled this weekend, what I have built, what I'm going to be building, what I'm trying to prioritize, and let's see if we can, make a couple of last hurrahs to get some extra points. First of all, as you can see, I have fused Fabian. I've leveled him up a little bit because I was running him through some Minotaur. I have not geared him yet because, first of all, I don't have the books for him, although I will certainly run him even without the books because he's pretty amazing even without the books. The books are certainly going to help. They're going to make this a 100% chance. They're going to make this a 100% chance, and that's certainly going to limit his use until those are firmly booked. But he is still going to be a super fast champion that is still going to be able to help control a lot of things in my Undead Faction Wars, and my Undead Faction Wars has transformed, particularly because we have snagged a Gorgorab, which you'll believe I actually have built. That was for a Centranos floor, but also he is kind of replacing Old Hermit Jorg in my 3v3 arena teams because he certainly brings just a little bit more value. Nothing particularly exciting on that build, but it's there, and I have a chance to roll these up as well, so I'll probably see if I can push these things up to 16 when I get a chance. I have Husk, who is certainly going to help. I've certainly run some levels into him, but I've not had a chance to build him yet. I am super low on silver, and I may dive more into some champion training just in general, because that does earn me a ton of silver. And of course, one of the things that's actually been really nice about this fusion is I managed to actually fuse an extra epic. So yes, I did all 16 events, got 16 rares, and got the extra epic, and I did this all on my free-to-play account. Now, I've got very little left as far as shards are concerned, and some of that is by choice, because again, this is a competition where we are fighting at the very end, and I wanted to pull as many shards as I possibly could, but there's a little more to that than that. As we can see here, I'm actually in second place here in this Champion Chase tournament. I would love to stay in second place because that would get me a legendary book. Legendary books are going to be gold for me from now on because I have several legendaries I would like to book. Fabian probably being the #1 priority now that I've got Tyrant's cooldowns. Well, I don't know this cooldowns. Tyrant's ability to place burns up to 100%. So now that I've gotten Tyrant booked well enough, I don't need the cooldowns on him right now, but I did need the 100% burns, and I'll show you why later. But with that, we can certainly start working on Fabian. I probably should make at least one more 6-star, if not 2. I'm not 100% sure who that is going to be. Tyrant is certainly a very good option. Arbiter is a very good option because she gets some extra speed out of being brought to 6-star fully ascended. Fabian is probably going to be very valuable on this account as well, so that's certainly an option. The problem is those are all PvP champs, and my PvP stuff is mostly kind of set, and while they will certainly improve the PvP, that's not going to push the account forward. So I'm probably going to be looking more for some PvE champions to fully 6-star to see if I can push myself a little bit further, particularly if I can get more damage on Chimera, more damage on Hydra, as well as push my dungeons just a little bit further because dungeon points are going to be key towards the end of this event. And speaking of dungeons, this here is why I pushed so hard to get Tyrant up to something. Now you can certainly see my Tyrant build. He is not amazing. He is in Relentless because this was actually some of the best gear I could put on him, and it just happened to be Relentless. Once I got the third piece of Relentless, I did force the set a little bit, but I have him with enough accuracy to land debuffs on anything up to normal 25, plus that'll work on Chimera and Hydra normal, hard, even easy. So he's going to be very useful wherever I decide to use him for. The Relentless means he can A1 a little bit more and heal himself up a bit, because he does heal on his A1, which is great. And he has a chance to get those burn cooldowns reduced slightly, so that's very helpful. He does have the ally protection as well, which will certainly be interesting to see if I can whip that into something. I think he will actually be very, very useful for me pushing further than I have on Ice Golem, for example. So I think that's going to be very, very helpful, because I do need to see him making some strides on Ice Golem. He might help with me on Dragon. I'm not 100% sure. Taragi is still very, very valuable there, because he also brings the decreased attack. Not going to help me on Fire Knight, but I've already at Fire Knight 25, and I don't think I'm going to be able to push beyond 25, just because I don't quite have the combination of champions that I'm going to need to start dealing with hard Fire Knight yet. But we'll certainly take a look and see. Maybe we can make that a little bit better. But he is going to be very, very helpful. He's also been very helpful on Demon Spawn already, even at this low level. And if I make him a 6-star, he will start doing more damage, which will be very helpful in a lot of places. Plus, he'll be able to tank a little bit more. Plus, that ally protection will actually come in a little bit better. So he's currently one of my leading opportunity for a 6-star. But again, with this team here, I played around with a couple different iterations of this team, and this is really the one that I found that works the best. Now, Morrigan gives me a bunch of extra speed, both in the speed aura and then the increased speed that she puts on, as well as a turn meter boost. So does Croydon the Blue, but Croydon the Blue also is going to be my primary freezer, which is mostly going to attempt to incapacitate as many of these spiders as possible while they burn under Tyrant's Burn. And meanwhile, Geomancer is mostly doing his A3. I do have him doing his A2, because I actually don't want him to do the A1 too often, because I don't want him to kill the little spiders as much as possible. Coldheart, I've turned off her A2 as well in this particular team. And then Cridian, he does this increased speed when he can. I have also turned off the ally protection on Tyrant, because I don't want Tyrant to kill himself too early. So he does eventually die in some of these runs, because he's certainly the weakest champion here. But by the time he dies, the boss is certainly dead. So let's take a minute at this run. The run runs about a minute to a minute and a half. I am currently way far ahead in the #1 as far as the time is concerned for this. But here it is. Very, very nice. And again, Morrigan's actually really good with this. The other thing Morrigan does really well in this is she will put out fears against all the spiders. And you'll see Geomancer does his burns against that spiderling. That's actually fine, because that means that Coldheart controls a little more of the turn meter the first time she does the turn meter. It intersperses the turn meter, and it means Geo goes just a little bit faster, because what he's doing is he's taking the champion with the biggest turn meter. Plus, most of these spiders aren't going to actually ever take a turn, so I'm not super worried about Geomancer doing Geomancer reflect damage things quite yet. And now he will actually get those done, because he just got the burn. Well, he maybe didn't land it, but that's fine. This works even if he doesn't land the burn against the big spider, because most of the damage is coming from the little spiders that are getting frozen and mostly controlled, and Tyrant's putting up those burns whenever he can, and then he's healing himself by attacking somebody with burn when he gets a chance with his A1. So we're about a minute in there. There's Coldheart with that second not reflect damage, but Heartseeker. So that's a big burn. Geomancer gets his reflect damage and weakens up there as well. So again, now we're just pretty much cooking. And boss, by the time this boss actually gets his turn, if he actually even does get a turn, because we've got a lot of anti-speed and control up here, he should be dying, but he's not going to get a turn, because one of these spiderlings is going to basically get him with the burn if we don't get him with some other damage. There you go. Minute and a half, took me 67 turns. Best we have run is a minute and 18 with 60 turns. That is well enough to get me first place in Spider, outside of the fact that I think somebody has actually pushed to Spider Hard 1. In fact, let me check that. Nope, nobody has pushed to Spider Hard 1, so I am in the lead. That makes this pretty awesome. Now, the big problem I have with running lots of this is that I actually need all these accessories, which sounds great, but that means that I'm not getting the silver that I would like to get from this as well, because I'm keeping just about everything I'm pulling from here. Now, maybe I just need to put a bunch of energy into this, get a bunch of silver, and start selling some of this stuff as well. It's not the worst problem to have, and the fact that I can do 25 consistently is going to be very, very helpful for this account overall. This means I can now do 2 dungeons at level 25, do them as well as anybody else can do. I am currently number 1 in Fire Knight 25 with the best time by far, and I'm now number 1 in Spider's Den at stage 25 with the best time here by far. So here's my demon spawn. I had not gotten past stage 7 before I got in Tyrant. With Tyrant, I was able to get past 7, 8, 9, 10, and all the way to 11. And 11's the first time I actually couldn't get the entire team through. My team, not particularly exciting. I'll certainly show that to you in a second. But it is Tyrant. I've got Abyssal, who gives me some healing. I've got Marquess built to do some damage, but she's, again, only 4-star, as is most of the rest of the champions there. I've also got a Diabolist, so she does some good damage there as well, and some good support. So it's not a great team. Tyrant is kind of the huge carry of this, but I've got a little bit of healing, I've got a lot of speed manipulation, and I've got some burns, and as long as I can keep the team alive, I can push myself pretty far in Demon Spawn. It's not going to be getting me much further than this without investing heavily, probably in Marquess to make her a 5-star damage dealer minimum, probably in Abyssal to make Abyssal actually heal quite a bit better. Probably need to book both of them as well, which is something maybe I'll do during the next CVC. Skinwalkers hasn't really changed much for a long time. Sun Wukong is the big hard carry here. I probably could have rearranged this team. In fact, this would probably... nobody's got a good aura here. That's unfortunate. Now, I could certainly build Fleshmonger here. Fleshmonger does give you decreased defense. In fact, it's the big version of decreased defense once I ascend him, so he could be interesting to build. Gnarlhorn has certainly been helpful early on to help control the waves, but he doesn't really work long-term. I just have never found that he's particularly good long-term. Meanwhile, we do have Yaga the Insatiable. Yaga's bad. I hate Yaga. But Yaga just doesn't have any gear, but was better than anything replacement because he's already a 4-star champion, and he's getting a little bit of experience on this. Yaga would be a 4-star chicken on this account. Literally, I have no problem using Yaga as a chicken. He is bad. He needs so many books here to do very, very little damage and very little poisons. He's just a big disappointment of a champion. But I don't have anything better for Faction Wars, and the fact that he can tank better than most of the other champions I have for Faction Wars makes him usable. Now, Gnarlhorn does some tanking, does some control with the provokes, occasionally has some block unkillable that he puts up for himself, so that's going to be very helpful. Fleshmonger will bring decreased defense, which will actually help against the waves once I build him. It's only a 75% chance if he's fully booked, but it's better than nothing. So literally, Yaga is the worst champion on this roster right here, even with Fleshmonger with no gear at level 3. He's just better. And then finally, I've got Meat Carver here. Meat Carver is going to be great. He brings some healing. He brings some revive. That's part of the reason I brought him to 4 stars. I will probably bring him to 5 stars when I get a chance, because I think he's a pretty good reviver. And I don't have a Hoffreeze or anything else like that yet. My hope is maybe I can get lucky and get something extra with this team and get another Skinwalker, maybe push a little further. But, you know, it's really going to take another really cool champion to push this a little bit further. Either another damage dealer or a better support to keep everyone alive. Like a Steel Skull would probably be enough to push this beyond to be able to actually get through stage 14. That said, I need 2 stars to get to this here. So if I can't do it in Skinwalkers today, tonight I've got the Orc Crypt opening up. Probably not going to get more stars there. And where is the other one that should be opening up? Dark Elves. Probably, again, not going to get more stuff there. So if I'm going to get any more, I'm probably going to need to figure out how to get the 3 stars here in the Skinwalker faction to get that Void to maybe yeet it while it's still a 2x. I have been hard stopped with hard Nether Spider 60. I have tried my best. I have built a Reliquary Tender. She's already 5-star. She's almost fully leveled out there. I could build her to 6-star. The problem I have is that my team are still just a little too squishy. Reliquary Tender does her cleansing fairly well. She's able to kind of stay alive. But if I bring enough damage to do any damage against the boss, then my teams are just kind of squishy enough where the Nether Spider is really hurting me badly and I can't really do anything to help. I could certainly look at maybe a reflect damage and a block healing, but I have no way to absorb all the damage because I have no way to get everyone unkillable or keep them all alive. So I just have been struggling with ways to deal with this team. So for now, I have stopped working on it. I'll certainly see if I can, because I'm going to work on most of these champions, and we'll see if I can bring a champion up that will actually help with this. But I think that this might be where I stop in Doom Tower, which means this is going to be the end of Doom Tower for me. Other than I have no problem climbing up on normal and fully expect, because if I can get to hard 60, I should be able to beat all the way up here without any problem whatsoever. My Geomancer has plenty of accuracy to land his burns against the Frost Spider, and that's how I managed to win last time. And that was against hard 40, so I'm not going to have any problem against normal 120. I can't believe it, but in Curse City, I've managed to unlock Amius a second time. I have managed to get 69 stages clear here on normal, including 8 of 12 awakened stages. I have been trying really hard to get this one done. This is, again, why I built Gorgorab. This is close. I can get the boss to about 20% before this team passes away. And I honestly think that if I can get Gorgorab just a little bit faster, just a little bit better built, and that probably means just leveling up, maybe even getting him a 5th star and getting him his gear rolled up just a little bit more, I think I can have this in the bag. Tyrant getting a little bit better certainly doesn't hurt. You know, for the most part, everyone else here is kind of support. Kaifu brings occasional cleansing, some healing when he does that cleanse, so that's very, very helpful. Plus, he can tank a little bit because he is in some Guardian set. Morgaine controls the turn meter, which gives me tons of turns, which has been very helpful because a lot of these champions aren't booked, so I need to get those cooldowns done. And really, Frozen Banshee's been there for some damage of some kind. So it's, you know, it's not perfect. We're certainly working on making it better, but I think I might be able to get past this stage, which would be good because that's a couple extra points. But that also means I could then maybe try this stage, which looks very doable. Maybe I can even try this Iron Twins team. There's a chance I might be able to do this. In fact, looking here, I've got some interesting champions to use against this boss, so maybe that might work. I certainly could try to push right here, but this is not gone very well for me. I have not been able to get past the first stage with the champions I have here. But again, we've got some time to do this stuff. I believe we have, what do we got left? We've got a week and 5 days. So this is going to reset almost exactly on the last day. So I might be able to get a few extra Curse City floors in the morning, but nothing that's going to really affect the free-to-play account, at least as far as scoring is concerned. So finally, just looking at other champions I have, as we can see here, I've got Kaseya. I haven't invested in her yet. I will definitely be investing in her a little bit once we get to these this particular faction, the Sacred Order, because I do think that she will help. She will be better than Carolinia or Relic Keeper as far as just adding value to the wave clear and those teams. So I think that's going to be very good. I do have Morag. She's certainly going to be worth investing in on my dwarves. I don't know if she's going to replace Master Butcher or she's going to replace one of my secondary Geomancer, but she is definitely going to add some additional value because of that strengthen and that ally protection and that ally attack, I should say. So she's definitely going to be worth dealing with. Sabbatha, going to be very, very helpful. She's already been helpful in the Knights Rev unbuilt because I just threw her in there at the time. She's got a blessing as well, which is kind of nice. I do need to pick that. That would certainly be helpful. Broadmaw, I fused Broadmaw. So Broadmaw is going to be very helpful for my lizard team. I'm not sure who he's going to swap out with, and I do have another epic lizard that I need to figure out if I want him in the team or not. So I will have to kind of juggle what I'm going to be doing with those teams. But between Broadmaw and maybe Korgon the Crowned, we'll certainly see how that team is going to work and if that brings me enough damage and other stuff to maybe get through. I'm still sorting out what I'm going to do with the Sylvan Watchers. I wouldn't mind maybe building Kellen for some damage to replace one of the rares I've got dealing damage, particularly because I haven't even made those rares 4 stars. And then I need to figure out if I want to run Renin or not, because I do already have Tria Shield Knot, and Tria Shield Knot, I believe, is booked already, and even if he's not, he's a very, very good reviver. Renin's not horrible. She does have this 5, it's only a 4-turn cooldown if it's booked, but without the booking, it really is not that great. And then she does have some turn meter control, but I've got turn meter buffing already on 2 other champions in Sylvan Watchers. So again, I don't know if I'm going to be doing that or not. And that's really kind of where I'm at with far as investing in champions concerned. Again, I actually really like Lightward Senna. In fact, I probably am going to need to rebuild her a little bit better because she's got max crit rate, and I've only got this crit rate glove up to level 12. So getting her in better gear once I max this to 16, and maybe, swapping something out for a little more damage somewhere, or maybe a little more accuracy, because she does have some debuffs that she lands. But this has been hitting fairly hard. And of course the increased accuracy and increased crit rate is nice, which is funny because she doesn't necessarily totally need the crit rate, but again, I don't like to build people without the crit rate if I can avoid it. And then this double hitter has been nice with the turn beater steal. And then yeah, that's a chance of stealing 30% of the hits critical, so that's been nice, and it's got double chance, so even if she weak hits on the first hit, the second chance has a chance of stealing some of that, or she can steal twice, which is absolutely great. This hits fairly hard as well. You can get it up to a 4-turn cooldown, but even unbooked, she's been very, very helpful, and I think getting her a little bit of accuracy would certainly be helpful. Otherwise, yeah, she's just got some gear on her and does some damage and has been very, very helpful because she has been a better damage dealer than Elhain has, as well as Senna, although Senna's doing a lot of damage as well. Elhain, not quite so much, but she's probably not built particularly well. So Light Ward is probably going to replace Elhain in my elves and going to help that team quite a bit. So that is kind of where I'm at with this account. I've got a bunch of champions to build. I've got a bunch of gear to put on champion, and I've got 2 weeks really to do it and to rethink how my dragon teams are going to work, how my ice golem teams are going to work, and maybe see if I can push in other areas of the game to go just a little bit further against different bosses. So without that, right now Bone is certainly well ahead of me. In fact, let's go take a look at the leaderboard before we go. So just taking one quick look here at the leaderboard, I am now not the only person with 15 5 stars. Broken Not Dead has gotten his 15th one. I was for the longest time at 15. In fact, as of yesterday night, I was at 15 alone. So I certainly could get a few more points here by making 1 or 2 more 6 stars. But again, they need to be meaningful 6 stars. Otherwise, I'm certainly more focused on building champions and getting things like Faction War stars. Great Harl development. Certainly been making some strides here. I was at around 50 for a while because I was waiting for the final drop to get Arbiter. Now that I have Arbiter, we've gotten to 62, and I can keep on farming and get more of those. Those have definitely evened out quite a bit. So I have most of them at level 2. A lot of them are now level 3 minimum. So that's certainly been helpful as far as getting this great Harl development is concerned, but that's also been great for just advancing the account because it is extra stat. Faction Wars, we've got here, I am 3rd with 354. I don't need to catch up to these two, but I certainly want to get another 30 to 40 stars if I can in Faction Wars progress, because I think that's going to be huge. Those are worth 2 to 3 points each, so that's a good chunk of change if I can get that. The classic arena rank doesn't matter. It'd be kind of nice to get in platinum at some point in time, but it really, really doesn't matter. There's no additional points for this. This is more just a check here. Same with the current fastest champion. Right now, my current fastest champion is Morgaine at 293. The moment I get Arbiter to 6-star fully ascended, she becomes my fastest champion because she's going to get 18 or 19 speed, and she's only about 4 speeds slower than Morgaine. So I will get somebody over 300 before the end of this, most likely, if I get Arbiter as my fastest champion. And I'm not quite in a huge hurry to do that, but I do have that option. Tag team rank, I think I'm going to get in Bronze 4, so that'll be kind of nice. I don't need to get in Bronze 4, and I'm certainly going to tank out of Bronze 4 afterwards, but I figure it can't hurt to get into Bronze 4 to get a few extra rewards and maybe make some of that stuff I can get from Bronze from the tagged arena shop just a little bit easier. Doom Tower rotation, I talked about that. We're certainly climbing in here. I am still getting points for normal, however, so I'm still getting some points here. Bone stopped on 61, which means he did get 20 more points, I believe, for getting this floor 60 done. So that is something I do need to consider, and I'm certainly not going to give up on floor 60, but I do want to make sure that I don't miss any points on doing regular Doom Towers, so that's definitely a focus. Demon Lord, that is probably where I'm falling behind the hardest. I am not quite one-keying Nightmare, and even then, this was the best affinity I could grab, so it has been very difficult for me to do any further on an Ultra Nightmare. The teams that I run in Nightmare, which you can see right here, is my team here, Tagore, Sun Wukong, Geomancer, Taragi, and Ugo. I get maybe 15 to 17 million on Ultra Nightmare if it's the best affinity I can do. I'm just not fast enough. I just don't have the right champions for it. Now, I could certainly maybe find a better champion for it, but if I look here at some of these other teams, we've got Sabbatha and Harima. Harima adds a ton of extra damage. She brings some extra damage mitigation, very helpful. It doesn't have Tagore, so maybe I don't need a Tagore as much, but Tagore I thought brings a lot of increased speed, which is very, very helpful. Plus he brings some extra healing. But then again, Sabbatha might bring some of that extra healing with an increase at defense and increase attack, so maybe that's a little bit better. Snackbox right here, he's got Morag. Morag would certainly be another option for me, but I need to 6-star her really to be able to bring her into the team. And, I certainly don't have a Feign, so I wouldn't do that as well. Maybe Morag might replace Tagore as well, because she would put the Strengthen up, which wouldn't be a heal, but at least give me the Strengthen. I wouldn't have a Revive out of it, though, which could be problematic, but I think that Strengthen and that ally attack could certainly add a decent amount of damage, so Morag is certainly an option. Lumi here's got Mausoleum Mage for the block buffs, or block debuffs, I should say, so that's nice, but he's got a Helicath. I don't have a Helicath. Helicath is an easy solution for Ultra Nightmare. If I pulled a Helicath, I would be able to get an Ultra Nightmare even if it was a 3-key. And that's the same with Bone. Bone's got Helicath. He's got a bunch of champions here. Again, very good team, and I'm not taking anything away from the fact that he has constructed a very good team. Bone has been great at keeping me on my toes. He has, however, pulled multiple legendaries and been able to use them very well. I was very late to pulling legendaries other than Morrigan, and while Tyrant's certainly been very helpful, he is not a bad Alcazar. He is not a Helicath. Those are changing an awful lot of areas in his account that I'm not changing. Finally, Hydra here. I did spend some time trying to run my Hydra key and got to about the same level, so I can get to this hard 10 million-ish damage pretty easily, repeatedly, but it's not quite enough, and I don't have a second team to run. I'm doing about 15 million. In fact, I did 14 million on a full auto key with that same team on normal. So I certainly have champions and can certainly still push those champions a little bit further to get through a hard. Plus I've been grinding some live arena and putting those into the Hydra stuff. So that's giving me extra speed, extra ignore defense. So I think I should be able to push a better Hydra key out before the end of the competition. I've effectively got 2 more rotations worth of tries to do that. And it's possible the next rotation might just line up better with the way my team is constructed as well. Chimera progress. I have not tried a recent Chimera key. I will basically have 2 shots to do this. I will have this week and next week to do it. I don't know if I'll have a chance to try running a Chimera key on Friday before I have to go to work, which is very unfortunate. So I'm going to try and hold off on my Chimera key, the last one I run, as long as possible to try to work and see if I can get better champions, better builds, better something to get a better Chimera key and work on it there. I'm also trying hard, because if I can do a Chimera hard key, that would be good. My understanding is Bone has put 21 million up on hard Chimera, and this leaderboard is not updating as well as it could. So that is certainly something to consider as well. Here, finally, we start to look at where Bone has started to pull away from me. He has gotten to Dragon 9. Maybe I can get to Dragon 9. Dragon 8 is a bad affinity for me, but I might have the champions to kind of make it work now, so we can certainly test that and take a look. I will certainly push that over the next couple days, maybe even live on Twitch, and even on YouTube if I can stream on YouTube. I had some technical problems streaming to YouTube on Thursday, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm trying to stream on YouTube, and I am definitely streaming on Twitch, and then Catterdays are a Twitch exclusive. So, in fact, I will be doing a subathon next Catterday, so go check out my Catterday stream and Twitch. Link should be down below in the description. Check that out. Appreciate your love. We'll do a subathon. I'll be running for a while. I do free takeovers. We'll do shard pulls. We will have fun. Fun is mandatory on Twitch, and it's a lot of fun. Ice Golem, this is probably where Bone has gotten the biggest amount of points, because I am not even on 25, I am on 24, and he's all the way up to hard 9. And again, this is where Bad Alcazar and Helicath and Sabbatha, I mean, although I do have a Sabbatha now finally, so I can certainly build a Sabbatha, are helping him a ton. And it's, that's the name of this game. Finding the champions, pulling the champions you have, and then using them the best way possible. So I think it's absolutely amazing he's gotten himself to hard 9. I think if I can get past 25, I might be able to push into hard, and I think Tyrant is going to be key for that. So I'm probably going to have to 6-star Tyrant because he will bring the burns that I will need for this early Ice Golem. And if at least I can climb a couple of floors, I can claw back a couple of points that Bone has ahead of me. We'll certainly see. Fire Knight, I might still push Fire Knight Hard 1 or Fire Knight Hard 2 and see if I can just get them done. I don't think I'm going to be able to reliably get them done. I can reliably farm 25, and as you can see here, I've got a 3-minute and 37-second team, and it's just a really good team that is pretty supportive and manages to make it through the waves quickly and through the boss fairly quickly as well, especially as I've improved my Geomancer build, as I've improved my Alice build, as I've improved my Cold Heart build, and my Tagore and Ugo builds. That has certainly been very helpful. I do probably need to revisit my Ugo and Tagore builds, maybe even my Cold Heart build as well. Especially considering I had 2 Cold Hearts for a while, and I don't necessarily need to use the second one quite as much as I thought I might. Looking here at Spider, I am at 25. I am 2 minutes faster than the next fastest team. He's got a fairly similar team to what I've got here. He's got Arbiter versus my Morrigan. We both have Croydon. We both have Cold Heart. I've got Tyrant versus his Mordecai, and I think the big difference is he's got Flannan for some of the turn meter control and decreased speed. I have Geomancer, and then Morrigan is bringing the decreased speed as well as some additional freezes, and as far as fears are concerned, I should say. So she's bringing those fears, and that is helping quite a bit as well. So I think that's why my team is significantly faster than his. And I don't know if anyone's actually going to be able to catch up with that. That's one of the things that maybe I might have a bunch of points on Bone on. He's currently been working on stage 21. He's got Helicath, he's got Bad Alcazar, but he doesn't have a burner, and it's really hard to get past 20 without a burner. So, you know, that's someplace I do have an advantage on. Iron Twins, I've pushed to stage 12. Stage 12, I can only do it on Spirit, and even then it's not quite 100%, so I don't farm it actively on stage 12. Kind of unfortunate, but we're getting there. We're getting close to that. I don't think I'm going to be able to push much further, though, because when I'm winning on stage 12, I'm often winning with only a couple of my champions up, and I'm winning off of reflected damage, or I'm winning off of brimstone procs, and that's not a great way to push it much further. I might be able to get a little more time on here to make sure I don't fall too far back, but I think I'm probably locked in where I am with Iron Twins. Sand Devil and Shogun, those are certainly going to be interesting as well. I have not pushed Shogun any further than what we've got right here. Bone certainly has, again, some interesting options here with his Cold Heart. My team been very effective with the Cold Heart. Alice is unfortunately the target, but because she has a 5-star soul, she can weak hit without really causing too many problems, as long as she's not A1ing into the boss, which, you know, he's what happens sometimes. Otherwise, we're working on some of these cleanses here. Maybe Reliquary Tender might get in here and help me with the cleanse just a little bit better. I do have Gnarlhorn added. Interesting. I didn't think about that. I don't think I can get the speeds to get all the way up to 25, but I have Gnarlhorn. I have Paragon now. I've got the Cold Heart. I can build a second Cold Heart, and I'm not going to have a lot of blessings on that team, so it might not work quite as well, but I can build an all rare team. In fact, I'm going to leave a link up above, at least it's something I can remember to leave the link, to my all rare Shogun Grove team. If I can get the speeds right, I might be able to push maybe as far up as level 25. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to full level 25. So to get to level 25, I'm going to get Reliquary Tender at 283 or 284 speed, and that's going to be really, really hard without compromising multiple other champions. But hey, that might be kind of fun to do, and you know what? Maybe I do it once to get it done, get those extra points, and go from there. But I have the team, which will be kind of interesting. The other problem is I'm probably going to need to make sure that everybody there is at least 5 stars, and I probably do need to get blessings on them to really be able to beat down the shade counters that he gets, because he is going to get some of those shade counters, and if I'm not beating him down with multiple blessings, so I may still not be able to run that team. But we can try. It might be kind of fun. We'll see if I can do that. And meanwhile, Sand Devil continues to really, really struggle for me. I haven't really found a good solution for how to get past stage 13. Maybe Skytouch Shaman might be my key, where I bring her on 14, hope that the fear doesn't procs, and then I can get some of the revive on deaths out there, and then I can make it past the first level and go from. The problem is that's a force affinity, so it's just been kind of tough for me. Bone, on the other hand, again, this is where Helikath comes in. Helikath is an absolute beast of a champion, and Sand Devil and Shogun are two places where really Geomancer doesn't help me that much. And of course, it did make some sense that I'm struggling because a lot of my progress has been focused around that Geomancer. So here are the results as of Sunday afternoon. So yeah, I'm in second place. I am in a very clear second place. I am not really worried about Hell Hades catching me. Take that, Hell Hades, haha. And I am worried about catching Bone, and I may not be able to. And if I can't, I will be perfectly happy with having been in the lead for a long time and coming up in second place. Well, I mean, I'll be disappointed. I'm not going to get, don't get me wrong, I will be disappointed I didn't win. But I think the fact that I am in the top 5 with all of these wonderful content creators, these really smart people, and some of these people who pulled amazing, amazing champion, and I've done so much with honestly a lot less than I expected I would get, and honestly a lot less compared to some of these other people. So I think that's a win regardless. And honestly, the biggest win has been you all embracing me. It's been so wonderful to hear your comments, to hear people telling me, let's go, let's win this. I appreciate you guys giving me all the support. I appreciate all the channel growth that I've gotten over this. You guys are absolutely amazing, and you are the reason that I'm doing not only this challenge, but why I am content creating, because I'm hoping some of the stuff I am doing is helping you build a better raid account and enjoy playing raid, because raid's a game and you should be having fun. And that's the important part. I've had fun playing this, and if I end up coming in second, it's not really a big loss for me because I had fun on the journey, and the journey is the most important part. But let's try to win it anyway. I'm going to do my best to win this for you guys, for myself. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow me so you can get all the updates on this free-to-play account stuff. And hey, I will try to make some more videos to kind of show you where my teams are ending up on the free-to-play. Maybe we'll do a recap once the free-to-play stuff is over. I am still not sure what I'm going to be doing with this account afterwards. I might be giving it away. I might be keeping it to build some content. If you've got any ideas on what you think I might do with it, let me know down below. I would certainly love your opinions. I'd love your thoughts on this. If you guys are really attached to this account the way I've kind of been, I might have to figure out a way to keep this account going, but then I need to figure out what to do with my other 2 accounts. So you guys are absolutely awesome, though. I really appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day, and until the next video, I'm Bront CatHerder.